last night on Raw, there was a controversial segment that involved Carlito Cool. We have the little rundown here in this article here. During a segment involving Adam Pearce and Damage Control, Carlito said, "I got to learn Chinese," as Io Sky and Kairi Sane, both of whom are Japanese, walked out of frame. The line has since been edited out of digital clips on social media. Fightful Select reported on Tuesday that the line was not scripted and that some in WWE were unhappy it was said. Brian Alvarez has since confirmed the news, writing, "Confirmed from multiple sources that the Carlito Chinese line was an ad-lib," to his subscribers on X. So if you haven't seen the clip, I suggest you hit up the Twitter to check it out, because I am not playing WWE content on stream. That's the best way to just get struck down completely. Now, I watched the clip, right? It's one of these things. It's one of these things where people who are defending it saying, "Oh, it's just a joke. It's just a joke," right? But a lot of these jokes in these circumstances, these people get a little hot. They get a little not hot. They get a little off track, is what I'm trying to say, and they forget that a joke is supposed to be funny. They forget that there's supposed to be a punchline. We're not just sitting around, you're not just sitting around on the couch, hanging out with the boys, playing some Mario Kart or whatever, and then you're dropping jokes that, just make the three of you laugh, that don't necessarily have to have a setup, a delivery, and a punchline. But when you're watching scripted entertainment, God, they love to tell us, they have the writers. When you're watching scripted entertainment, you kind of expect a certain level of a certain level of delivery if you're going to do the jokes. I didn't even think it was funny. I don't even think the delivery was funny. I don't think Carlito was funny. I don't think there was anything really to this outside of the fact that it's a very weird thing to say, and I can appreciate everyone getting into their feelings about this, right? Now, do I think that the intent was to be racist? No. I think it was a line delivered to show that Carlito Cool, the character, is a moron. He's a bit of an idiot. He doesn't know the difference between Japanese people and Chinese people, and he's a dope. He's just a big old dummy, and that's what I think the line was. It was just poorly executed, so it came across as not a joke. It just came across as this guy saying a line, and it's bad. It's a bad thing to say. You shouldn't be saying that, Carlito. We talked about it a little bit on Blue Sky today. By the way, follow me on Blue Sky. We were talking a little about it today, and I believe with DJ Convoy, who's here as well. Nice to see you. I don't think I said hello, right? Convoy and I were talking, and I think the line was ad-libbed. I know that like King of the North points out, Chris Legentil, there he goes, sending out the press releases saying, "Oh, well, no, we are distancing ourselves from this. It was an ad-lib. This absolutely was not scripted." And you know what? I would buy at the same time that this was scripted. Absolutely 100%. But I don't think it was. The way it was delivered, again, the way it didn't fit in the usual way WWE presents itself, or presents its skits and its bits. You would have had, more of a zoom in, right? There was more of a zoom in on Carlito's face. There would have been or maybe not a zoom in onto his face, but he, we would have got the angle would have shifted a bit. He would have been more in position than sort of being between two things. Like, it felt a little wonky for a WWE segment where everything is so like calculated and precise and meticulous, and you stand here like this, turn this way, look that way, kind of thing. It really felt like he just decided to say, hey, you remember Stone Cold Steve Austin when he ad-libbed his promo? I can do that too. I think that's the intention that was delivered here. I didn't care for it. I think it was dumb. I think at the same time I think it makes a lot of sense if people are calling this racist, because WWE has a terrible history with racism. It's just an awful history, and someone earlier today shared with me a video of the WWE debut of Yoshitatsu. He was facing Shelton Benjamin. I think this was on the Raw brand, and Shelton was just like he was cutting a promo on Yoshitatsu and making fun of how Japanese people talk, and he was bowing and I'm like, my God. And this went on. We're talking a good 90-second promo here, not just like does a couple of lines and Yoshitatsu kicks him in the nuts or something. This went on and on and on. See, the idea is that he ad-libbed, I buy it. And I know it's something that a lot of people want to know the difference, right? Kind of like what Gibby said, what Zach said in the chat. I would really like to know if the segment was pre-taped or live. That's another thing too. Was it live or was it pre-taped? Because if it was pre-taped, that means someone looked at it and said, haha, good shit, pal. Because like he says, we can't give WWE the benefit of the doubt because they have such a long history of this. They have a long history of this. And it connects to what I've been saying at the same time since yesterday. It connects again. Even though bad man gone, the culture remains, because all of his generals and lieutenants, all the people who worked under him for the better part of 40 years at different stages, are all still there. If you really wanted to change the culture, you clean house, get rid of everyone, start anew, start fresh. That's how you do it. I'm getting back on that tangent. The tangent, though, is this. Not the tangent. The back on track thought is the following. I thought, even though it's ad-libbed, I'm not excusing it, because I think a lot of people are missing the point. A lot of people are, look, I'm trying to say too many things at once. A lot of folks are making the point that it was ad-libbed to defend the WWE, right? And that's not what I'm doing. I'm saying that it's ad-libbed, and I'm saying that it's ad-libbed, but in the following context, that it's weird to me that someone would feel comfortable just in an environment where saying that kind of thing as an off-the-cuff quip, little off-the-cuff remark, is completely natural, right? That to me is a little weird. And that's, it makes the ad-lib, when you look at the ad-lib in that context, suddenly the ad-lib defense is, it ain't that great either. You're kind of looking back on this and you're like, oh, come on. It's not exactly great either. If Carlito felt like, hey, this is a funny thing that we can say, well, you can continue to imagine what kind of weird backstage environment there is here. It's so weird to me. It's so weird. It's a very strange comment. Now, of course, everyone's expecting something to happen. A reprimand? Look, if he ad-libbed and this was not on the, If this was ad-libbed, if this was not script, if this was not pre-taped, then there should be a repercussion, right? There should be some form of punishment. People are saying he should outright be fired. I mean, it's Carlito Caribbean Cool. Who cares? Who cares? What is the value in this guy in WWE in 2024 of all things? I know he's been added to the Judgment Day as a Sami Zayn type, you know, kind of like with Sami Zayn and the Bloodline, where you bring in this guy from the outside who has nothing to do with, who has, you know, no real connections, is not in the vibe of the group at all, but he comes in and he says some funny things. He makes some goofy faces, right? They want to do the same thing with Carlito and the Judgment Day. He doesn't belong in that group. He's not a dark, brooding goth, right? He's Carlito, but the difference between Carlito and Sami is that Sami is a natural, charismatic individual who is actually legitimately funny, who has great timing, who's very good at this, and Carlito is, you know, a big old jock. That's the difference. So is he gonna look? They want him fired. Honestly, like, if it were me, if it were me and Carlito went off script, I just have who's in charge of HR now? Who does who's Triple H's lackey now? You know, who's Triple H's Johnny Ace? You have him call, wish him well, future endeavors, etc., and just fucking move on. And that's it. It's Carlito. It doesn't matter. like as far as, you know, people on this roster that you could just jettison at any given time, he is at the forefront. The road dog is Triple H's Johnny Ace. Well, there you go. Have Armstrong give him a call. Just have old Brian give him a call. Maybe Carlito's smart not picking up the phone. But if he's not fired, if they decide to hang on to him, well, is that an indictment that WWE did put it in the script, or that they did approve the line at the very least? You know, again, like, anyone who tells me this place has changed, it really hasn't. It's still the same place.